Before we start, I will explain you a little bit how that representation works. Everybody who's subscribed, who registered, has 90 seconds to present their project or institution or part of research. It has to be connected somehow with the topic of the conference, of course. At the beginning, we have 4 different presentations, and these are the institutions one can apply for the funds, for the grants. So 4 persons will introduce themselves and their projects, and then you can catch them during the breaks, coffee breaks outside, and you can ask more questions whenever you want. Everybody will have one coffee table, and so whenever you want, you can just join for the conversation and ask the questions you are interested in. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, thank you for registering, and I start with Carolina Fenol Espinosa from Spanish National Contact Point of the SERP program.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Carolina Fenol, and I work at the Spanish National Contact Point for the SERP program, which is Citizens, Equality, Rights and Values, managed by the European Commission, and is also the one who is funding these 2 host organizations. So this program has 2 main objectives, which are first, to protect and promote rights and values as enshrined in the EU treaties and the Charter of Fundamental Rights, and also to support and develop open, rights-based, democratic, equal and inclusive societies based on the rule of law through the active participation of the civil society. I must say as well that applicants must be legal entities and in most of the cases be a non-profit organization. This is divided into 4 chapters. The first one is union values, which is well, to protect and promote this, the union values is the chapter with the biggest budget. The second one is on equalities, rights and gender equality, to fight against discrimination and to promote this quality and gender mainstreaming, etc. The third one is citizens engagement and participation, and it has one strand specifically to raise awareness of the European common history. I mean, there is place to fund remembrance projects. There is also space for other projects like town twinning and civil society organization projects. And the fourth one is Daphne, which is to combat all the violence against women and children, etc. So, if you want to know more about our funding opportunities, this is the Funding and Tenders portal. There you can find all the information on the calls, the results, and how to submit your application. That is the web page. And I cannot put next one. It's not working. Can you put next one, please? There were 2 more at the beginning. That one, thank you. So we are a network. There's a network for national contact points. Right now, there is around 18 offices throughout Europe. So we encourage you to get in contact with us. We provide not only information, but also technical advice, technical support to all potential applicants. And I just wanted to say that the service is for free of charge. And last one, please. This is our current network. As I said, we are 18 offices throughout Europe, and you're very welcome to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank Just to anticipate the questions, why those four have more time, it's because of, just to explain you what can you ask for during the breaks. So they have 120 seconds. All the rest, please be punctual. Okay, now please Finn Morten Heckert from Histolab Fellowship Grant.
Hello, so my name is Finn Morten Heckert. I work for the Council of Europe's Observatory on History Teaching, and we also have the Histolab joint project with the European Commission. And I'll present tomorrow more in detail our work, but today I want to present our Histolab Fellowship, which funds research in the field of innovation and history education with a view on strengthening democratic citizenship. So what we do here is we offer 4 financial grants up to 7,000 euros for doctoral students who research on history education and innovative ways to strengthen democratic citizenship education through history education, and also for history educators who are on a research sabbatical. Besides this financial grant of maximum 7,000 euros that each grantee will get, there's also the possibility to conduct the research visit at the Leibniz Institute for Educational Media in Germany, in Braunschweig, which has one of the biggest textbook collections worldwide, and also an experimental classroom in which grantees can experiment about their research. Which is important to note is that the deadline is quite soon. It's on the 14th of May. And it will start the implementation period, which will require the writing of an academic article in the related field by the 10th of January 2024 for publication by our team, but also all kind of research or projects that are kind of related or form the basis of such articles can be funded or eligible to our funding. So if you're yourself doctoral students in the field, work on this field, which can also encompass, of course, remembrance, then please feel free to apply or also disseminate the calls with doctoral students you may know. And as I said, also this also is as valid for history educators who are history educators by profession but take some time to pursue research themselves. I think that's it basically, and if there are any questions, I'll be available for you in the foyer.
Thank you very much. Now Mr. Petr Mareš from International Visegrad Fund.
Good evening. As you already know, I'm Petr Mareš. I'm Executive Director of the International Visegrad Fund. This is our jingle, and we are the only permanent institution of Visegrad for cooperation, established 22 years ago with the goal to promote, assist, and enable communication and cooperation among civil society organizations of V4 countries. Since then, we spent more than 110 million euro for our projects. We financed more than 6,000 different projects and about 4,000 scholarships. Nowadays, we operate not only inside V4, but also in 2 areas of interest for our governments. One of them is Western Balkans, the other one is Eastern Partnership, what we still call Eastern Partnership. We finance not only projects, we finance also scholarships, 1 to 2 semesters in any educational institution inside V4, and Visegrad fellowships, short-term study terms, 2 to 10 weeks. All the details you will find on our website, visegradfund.org, and the key information for anybody who would be interested to look for cooperation with civil society or educational institutions inside Visegrad 4 from any country around the world, please remember that International Visegrad Fund is the most friendly donors institution in the world. Thank you.
After that, I invite Maria Wilke from the Foundation Remembrance, Responsibility and Future.
Remembrance means action is a quote by Esther Bejerano, a Holocaust survivor who died in 2021. My name is Mascha Wilke and I want to present the EWZ Foundation, Stiftung Erinnerung, Verantwortung und Zukunft, in English, Remembrance, Responsibility and Future. Our mission today is to keep the memory of National Socialist persecution alive and to work for human rights and international understanding. Against the backdrop of our history, we are mostly active in Central Eastern Europe, in Israel, and in Germany. The EWZ was founded in the year 2000 as a joint initiative by the German Bundestag and the German economy to form a compensation program for former forced laborers of National Socialism. There were 1.6 million people who received compensations until the year 2007 from 100 countries. In the last 20 plus years, the foundation has supported more than 5,600 projects. We support projects that provide psychosocial, medical assistance to Holocaust survivors and projects that fight against anti-Semitism and anti-Gypsyism, for example, social media campaigns, or we support legal action. A really important field that we are active in is education and culture of remembrance. So we support different approaches, for example, on the local level, like historical approaches on the local level, transnational projects, youth exchanges, cultural and digital projects, for example, theater, music, exhibitions. Regarding the topic of the symposium, I want to just name two examples of projects that we fund. One is named Who is Walter? That's a Bosnian-German project dealing with the memory of partisan resistance during World War II in Yugoslavia and the memory in the countries of former Yugoslavia. And the second project is the Train to Sachsenhausen. It's a serious game application that deals with student protest in Czechoslovakia against German occupation in 1939. If you are looking forward to or for more information, please visit the website or speak to me during the break. And do not hesitate if you have any questions. Here's the website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now just to make the shifts a little bit smoother, I tell you that it will be the alphabetic order with the surnames, so it's easy. We start with the online presentation of Maher Akremi.
Hello, my name is Meher Akremi. I am the Program Manager for Organizations in Solidarity at Women of Color Advancing Peace, Security, and Conflict Transformation, or WCAPS for short. Today I'm going to give you a quick overview of what Organizations in Solidarity is and how we do our work. It began in 2020 following the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, and in the wake of numerous other killings of Black and Brown people by unjust systems in the United States and abroad. WCAPS produced 2 solidarity statements condemning those actions that received more than 300 signatures from organizations and individuals across the peace and security field. These statements were not just condemnations, though. They contained a set of 12 concrete aspirational commitments that we as a community can work towards collaboratively. That is what Organizations in Solidarity is. It is a collaborative effort to bring about change in these areas. The actual work of Organ Solidarity focuses around regular meetings of our partners and collaborative projects, as well as working groups focused on each of those 12 commitments to help organizations bring about change internally and as a field-wide effort. We are an open network. You would be welcome to join us, or you could learn more at organsolidarity.org.
Thank you. And now I invite Andrea Polonio from University of Turin and University of Florence. You have 90 seconds.
Good evening, everybody. My research, I'm a PhD candidate from University of Turin and Florence, and my research project investigates the European Union politics of memory, and specifically the debates, contrasts, and negotiations that take place in the European Parliament around the topic of European historical memory, especially concerning the tragedies of the 20th century and the totalitarian experiences. These discourses, in a sense, constitute a sort of institutionally shared memory to be found in resolutions, official declarations, stances, commemoration, public history initiatives. However, such a memory is inherently processual and in part contentious. In this sense, if we take into account the representative character of the Parliament, then the Parliament itself should also be understood as a forum and collector of political and social representations of European memory emerging and confronting in the context of Europeanization. In this conference, I really hope to explore some research or reflection horizons, collecting hints and ideas that I'm sure will emerge in this context. For example, what space and role can have the memories, not only of the victims of the 20th centuries in general and of their sufferings, but that of their struggles, activism, acts of resistance, opposition, and solidarity. More generally, does the memory of acts of resistance and solidarity have a greater integrative potential than the sole memory of past sufferings and passive victimhood that understood? I wish everybody a good symposium. Thank you very much.
Charles Ehrlich, Salzburg Global.
So my name is Charles Ehrlich. I'm Program Director at Salzburg Global Seminar in Austria. We are an independent nonprofit organization founded in 1947 with a mission to challenge current and future leaders to shape a better world. Our programs are inclusive, interdisciplinary, international, and intergenerational, and are designed to provide a global lab for innovation and transformation. Since 1947, we've built a network of 40,000 fellows in 180 different countries. Our home is a historic palace in Salzburg. Throughout its history, Schloss Leopoldskron has been linked to cycles of power, persecution, and renewal. And since our founding in Schloss Leopoldskron, we have been the sole curator and caretaker of the cultural heritage of the site, as well as its diverse, complex, and sometimes controversial and contested histories. We intentionally put all of this on display, even as we do celebrate the beauty of our site. Next slide. So, Archbishop Prince Leopold von Firmian became the religious as well as temporal ruler of Salzburg in 1729. He persecuted Salzburg's large Protestant population and expelled them. They were about 1/4 of the population, confiscated their wealth, and built the palace that we now use as our home. When he died in 1744, his body was buried in the cathedral with the other archbishops, but his heart was buried in the floor of the palace that he loved so well. We keep it there, but we've put plaques around to remind people the origin of the building. Next slide. The property went through a whole series of owners, which I'll skip through the centuries. And in 1918, the legendary impresario Max Reinhardt bought the ruins. He renovated the property, turned it into a leading cultural center of Europe, and founded the Salzburg Festival there. And we renovated the room that was founded during the pandemic. He was Jewish. It was confiscated by the Nazis in 1938. He died in exile. The Nazis, too, put it to various uses as an SS cultural center and as a home for the local Nazi party boss. And they were planning to make it as a symbol of Aryan superiority as a remake of the whole city of Salzburg. Next slide. Okay, finally, we were founded in 1947. We were thought to be a sort of a Marshall Plan of the mind to rebuild the intellectual design of Europe after the war. And we bring people together now from all over the world to interchange ideas and to have exposure to people who are different from them. So I will just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Edgars Engizers from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Latvia.
Hello, I'm Edgars Engizers, historical advisor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So I won't speak about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, everyone knows what it does. I won't present also the projects, because we are not sharing money, we are sharing knowledge, and that's the things which I'm dedicated to be here. Next slide, please. The problem, what we are facing today, is not only about memory, but also about abuse of history and memory mostly we are looking in the Russian direction, mostly in the time space of current war, but not only. The next slide, please. The problem, what we are meeting is that history is a complex issue. Everyone will agree to that, but public demands simple solutions. That is a question which we are facing. Another problem is that memory wars and history wars with Russia are not about past. They are about present and they are about future. So that is a dimension which lacks too often. Next slide, please. There are three cherries or three case studies which I wanted to introduce, where one thing, the question how Russians are using history by picking example where their rebel are shown in the bad light as an enemy, as an inhuman beast. And we have to admit that history is complex and we can find beasts in every nation. Same we can find also on the Soviet side, which have been silenced for decades, criminals, the war criminals in the Red Army. The next slide, please. The last thing that Russia not only demonizes the rebels or imagined rebels, and not only expose what they pretend to become the heroes, but they are also silencing also the question of saviors, which had been silenced in Soviet Union since the Second World War because of various reasons. The next slide. So there are no solutions, and I will not give a conclusions for that, as I'm exposing the problems which I'm asking you, begging you to think about. I'm here to share Baltic contacts. We are working with all memory institutions, not only in Latvia, with all historical research institutions, with all three Baltic states, and as we have observed that in the Western Europe, there is one extremely significant thing, it's the question of cooperation. If you are looking for contacts, if you are looking for knowledge and experience from inside of the Soviet Union's past, here is my contact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ilona Kałdońska, Polish Kosovo.
Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. I would like to talk about solidarity in action, Polish aid for Ukraine. Solidarity is a notion very closely related to the Polish history. However, I would like to take this opportunity to talk about the present and to say a few words about what does solidarity really mean in action. Based on the Polish experience and the aid provided to Ukraine since February 24, 2022, when Russia launched a full-scale armed aggression against Ukraine, which opened a new chapter in the history of Europe and the world. Poland is a leader among EU countries in helping refugees from Ukraine. We are at the forefront of providing aid to Ukraine, both humanitarian as well as other assistance. Is something wrong with the micro? Poland is acting on three fronts. We host and provide support to the biggest community of Ukrainian refugees. We operate as a hub for transferring international humanitarian aid through our border with Ukraine, and we deliver humanitarian aid directly in Ukraine. Presently, Poland is home to more than 3 million Ukrainians. From February 24, 2022, some 11 million people crossed the Ukrainian border to Poland. There are over 1.5 million Ukrainian refugees registered for temporary protection in Poland. More than 40% of refugees are children. In Poland, we did not establish refugees camp. Thanks to swift adoption of legal solutions, nearly 1.5 million Ukrainians were granted the same public services as Polish nationals that include schools, healthcare, social benefits. Our approach implies greater humanity, but also greater costs. Thank you. Muchísimas
Thank you very
gracias.
much. Now, Adam Mickiewicz Institute online.
Adam Mickiewicz Institute is a national culture institution responsible for promoting Polish culture around the world. It builds partnerships with other institutions abroad, supports the exchange of artists and the production of cultural events that present Polish values. One of them is solidarity. Therefore, after Russia's renewed aggression against Ukraine in 2022, Adam Mickiewicz Institute modified plans and implemented over 10 projects taking into account Ukraine. In addition to the residency of Ukrainian artists and other projects, Adam Mickiewicz Institute prepared an exhibition, An Acceptable Assassination. In the center of Berlin, on Alexanderplatz and in the vicinity of it, we showed on 19 billboards the works of Polish-Ukrainian duets, which were an artistic, often also political commentary about the ongoing war in Ukraine. The exhibition asked questions about the future of Europe after the Russian invasion, making the viewers aware that the war does not concern only Ukraine, but all Europeans. An Acceptable Assassination is not only an artistic statement, but also a document of a specific time in the history of 21st century Europe, a time marked by Russian aggression. When Western aid and attention in this more than a year-long war seems to be waning, we stand in solidarity against it. Not with tanks, but with cooperation in the field of culture. Also this year, Adam Mickiewicz Institute has planned a number of activities addressing the theme of solidarity with Ukraine.
And now, Przemysław Łukasik, Institute of Journalism and International Relations, Pedagogical University of Krakow.
Hello. The problem of the influence of history on contemporary international politics is a demanding field of research. The research project History as an Instrument of the International Conflicts was launched in 2018. The international team of researchers participating in this project represents 16 countries. The aim of the project is an analysis of historical phenomena regarding history itself being treated as a subject or an instrument of contemporary historical disputes and conflicts between nations and states. The result of the project will be presented within a multi-volume edition. The project so far has resulted in 2 international conferences and 2 publications. We hope that the result of the seminarium in Barcelona will be the establishment of the closer cooperation with new institutions which specialize in research on historical disputes, and together with new energy we will be able to pursue our project. I invite everyone to contact during the break. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have Paradigma Educational Foundation online.
Paradigma was founded with a mission to build the future of history education. No means work for all the variety of aims. Paradigma takes a differentiated approach. It develops graphic histories, gamified archival source cards, teacher guidebooks, multimedia learning packs. This presentation started with one of the resources that we created and will be followed by a graphic novel we currently develop.
At Paradigma, we believe that ethical considerations in history education require us to remember and acknowledge the suffering and sacrifices of victims of wars and totalitarian regimes. However, women's stories are often overlooked in historical narratives. Today we pay tribute to Louisa Slanian, a very brave French-Armenian woman, writer, anti-fascist activist who joined the French resistance despite being diagnosed with cancer. As part of our efforts to promote a more inclusive and diverse understanding of history, we are currently working on a graphic novel that explores the experiences of women living under oppressive regimes.
Okay, thank you. And now we invite Chiara Nencioni from Pisa University.
Hi to everybody. I focus on Srebrenica, where genocide was perpetrated by Bosnian Serb troops in July 1995. Slide, please. Second one. A form of resistance is to come back to home country, despite many difficulties connected with poverty, lack of infrastructure, hate speeches, and political hostility. Slides. Thanks. That's what Irvin Mujicic, young returnee and victim's son, did. Fourth slide, please. In order to foster remembrance into the future, Irvin, in collaboration with the Nature Friends International Movement, created the project Srebrenica City of Hope. The organization is committed to the development of sustainable tourism in order to strengthen the region economically. Next, please. Srebrenica City of Hope wants its city to be appreciated again for its natural beauties and its traditional way of life, and not only for the genocide. The entire region has still not recovered economically, so the project activities can make an important contribution to giving young people a new perspective. Visitors have the opportunity to stay overnight with host families, take part in guided hikes and excursions, and enter in touch with the real soul of Bosnia. All of this while a new source of income opens up for the locals. Next one. The project moves forward by creating a network of people working together in Srebrenica area to cope with an oppression and distressing memory. So if you want to join the project, you can visit us in Srebrenica and take part in one of the activities in order to foster solidarity and also historical knowledge of the Bosnian War. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have Art al Quadrat online.
Yo recuerdo, siendo pequeño, mi hermano también, que en algún momento, paseando por las calles principales de Barruelo, de pronto nos agarraba muy fuerte de la mano y cruzaba la carretera y nos decía: vamos a cambiar de acera, que por ahí vienen mis peluqueras. No quiero respirar el aire que respiran. Su marido era republicano, Barruelo fue frente de guerra durante varios meses, él huyó, como muchos otros hombres, de la mina, huyó a la zona republicana, a la zona de Reynosa, y mi abuela Emiliana se quedó con toda la prole, con ocho hijos. Ante la imposibilidad de tener recursos para vivir, decidió huir, y junto con otro grupo de mujeres y un grupo muy numeroso de niños, pasaron al bando republicano en la clandestinidad. Ella, con tantos niños, no pudo seguir huyendo y regresó al pueblo. Cuando regresó al pueblo fue represaliada, fue de manera muy ignominiosa, fue brutalmente tratada, fue insultada, por supuesto la raparon, la pasearon por el pueblo, fue escupida, y no sé si las cosas llegaron a más porque a los niños estas cosas no nos las contaron.
Thank you. And now Jadwiga Rodowicz-Czechowska from Józef Piłsudski Museum in Sulejówek.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today, and I'm going to present to you the program we do in our museum. And I think it's very much in lines with what Mr. Żantowski said. It's a smaller story within a bigger story. Slide, please. Although my museum is devoted to the life and political achievements of Józef Piłsudski, one of so-called founding fathers of Polish independence, also a controversial person, we take care of some smaller project for a long time already with Ukraine, with Western Ukraine. And to just give you a small historical background, it is the area between this bluish line and that brownish line, Wołyń in Polish, Wolynia in Ukrainian. And it has to do with the battlefield of Kościuchnówka, and again in Ukraine, Kościuchnivka. Also written in different characters. You have here in a pill how complicated is history of Europe, of Eastern Europe. Next, please. Yeah, and this was one of battles that, although it was lost by Polish troops led by Józef Piłsudski in 1916, it held Russian progress towards the east for a long time, and it allowed the forces to regroup, and they stopped. But casualties were really many, and therefore many graves remained. Next, please. After Polish borders were moved in Europe westwards, and that part of Poland was given to Soviet Union, many graves of Polish soldiers just remained completely desolate, and they were not even identified as such. And so the initiative came from a private person, a history teacher in Łódź, in the city of Łódź, and who visited that place. And then in talking with Polish inhabitants and also Ukrainian ones, he was given like a hint to do something about it. And after political changes in the 90s, these activities were possible. After the collapse of the Soviet Union and establishment of Ukraine. And so the Polish Scouts and Guides organization, harcerstwo, in Łódź started cooperating with communities in over Kościuchnówka. Next, please.
Please head to the end.
Oh,
It's
already, yes. So please,
over.
1, 2, 3. These mostly, please, go ahead with my slides. Next one, please, and next one, please. Mostly renovating graveyards and also identifying them. Next one, also two more sad work, exhumation of human remains. Next one, please, in order to give them a proper burial. Next one, please. We also, these scouts take care also of Ukrainian graves located in Poland. Next one, please.
Please.
Yes, and the last one, we have also, next please. Yes, the center in Kościuchnówka, established in 2010, that serves as a center for dialogue, summer camps, lots of other activities. And if you are interested in, I'm open to your questions. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Now, Professor Wojciech Śleszyński, the Siberia Memorial Museum. Please, 90 seconds.
Thank you. The Siberia Memorial Museum is the largest and the most modern museum in the eastern Poland. It was opened to the public in Białystok on the 17th of September 2021, on the 82nd anniversary of the Soviet invasion of Poland. The Siberia Memorial Museum is located in a real memorial place. From this place, during the Second World War, residents of the Białystok region were deported to Siberia, both Polish and other nationalities. The next slide, please. The mission of the Siberia Memorial Museum is based on the brief death memory of the foundation of identity. We decided to keep the memory of Siberia for next generation. Please, the next slide. And the last one. In September 2022, we inaugurated the cooperation network of the Central European Museum, Common Remembrance. We want to share knowledge about the past in a broad international context and a modern way. Si ustedes tienen algunas preguntas, nosotros podemos responder porque entre nuestro museo y Museo de América del Sur tenemos
there is a strong cooperation between our museum and museums in South America. We want to compare and benchmark our experience in this part of the world with right-wing dictatorships in Latin America. Thank you.
And now we have Johanna Vollmeier online from Memory Studies Association.
My name is Johanna Vollmeier and I'm a member of the Executive Committee of the Memory Studies Association, where I'm responsible for the MSA Fellowship Memory Scholars at Risk. The MSA offers funds for fellowships of €4,000 each to support memory scholars at risk. The perilous situation can be caused by discrimination due to gender, religion, racism, persecution as a result of the conducted research, due to wars, etc. The MSA is looking for institutions across the world that would like to provide a place of academic refuge, and the MSA is currently able to offer up to 6 fellowships a year thanks to a generous fund of the Gerda Henkel Foundation. What do you need to know to apply? The general rules of the applications are the following. The host institution names an MSA Fellow. It facilitates the integration of the MSA Fellow into the local academic community and delegates a senior or mid-career scholar to work with the MSA Fellow as a liaison. The 2 scholars are encouraged to co-write an article or co-produce any different kind of output together. The host institution should provide affiliation, a working place, and help in visa, health insurance, and other formal arrangements. The length of the fellowship is a minimum of 2 months, although the MSA encourages longer stays. Applications should contain the following: a description of the perilous situation of the proposed fellow and of the memory-related project to be carried out by the fellow, information on the support provided by the hosting institution, and short bios of the memory scholar in peril and the liaison scholar. To help scholars at peril, we encourage the liaison scholar to fill out the application. But potential fellows can also write directly to msafellowship@gmail.com. For further information, please visit our website, memorystudiesassociation.org.
Thank you. And now we have last two representations. The first, Irakli Kvadagiani.
So, thank you. I represent the Soviet Past Research Laboratory based in Tbilisi, Georgia. And speaking about the resistance and the solidarity mostly relates 1920s, 1930s in Georgia, as it's a time of the mass classic resistance movement and the solidarity network. And our organization developed the web page which shows the history of the leaders of the resistance movement in 1920s, as they were mostly elected MPs in 1990 of the Free Democratic Georgia. Majority of them fell victim of the Soviet repressions, including the 5 women who led the underground network of the Political Red Cross Society, which was organization helping political prisoners. And because of it, tens and hundreds of the women were persecuted. And also, we are advocating for the saving and the memorization of the place. It's a former Cheka house in Tbilisi, in center of the city, which is just the usual living block. And we want to transform it like a museum of the terror, which is impossible, unfortunately, now. And we created 3-dimension copy of it, and they placed the collection of the oral histories of the victims from 1921 until the end of the 1980s, and it's like an open and free source for everyone, students, teachers, interested people around. And now we are working to aggregate the idea how to commemorate 100 years of the 1924 mass uprising against the Soviet Russia's occupation rule in Georgia. And yeah, it's a main shape which relates the today's conference, solidarity and the resistance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Istvan Deak and Marina Constantinou. Please.
Hello, I'm Istvan Deak from Romania, journalist. Together with my colleague Marina, we started 2016 a research on defecting to the West via Romania during communism. And with the kind support of the Robert Bosch Stiftung and the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung later, we extended our research to East Germans defecting to Romania during 1968 to 1989. And also with members of the German minority from Romania defecting to the West and killings at the Romanian border. 2021, with the kind support of the US State Department through the Meridian International Center, Washington, D.C., we managed to launch this website, including all our articles in Romanian, German, and English. And Marina.
So it's a collection of oral history, and you also find some articles translated into German, Italian, and maybe French will follow. It's a long story about a very delicate topic for Romania, about our recent past, a topic which is still a taboo. So we are in 2023, and we are not talking officially about this part of our recent past, which was very painful and more tragic than the Berlin Wall. You have the website, but also we succeeded to produce the first documentary, a long one, 2 hours, 40 minutes documentary about this topic. It's called Death Border. In Romanian, it's Granica Morții. You have on YouTube the trailer, but also we have a link for those interested in this movie. We have a link with the movie which has subtitles in English, so anyone can understand the dialogues there. It's very impressive. It's produced by a group of producers from the Romanian public television, but they succeeded to do it and to present it in cinemas in Romania, and also the public television and some private TV channels. They presented the documentary. So we have a website dedicated to this mass phenomenon and this first documentary, but not an official topic about.
Thank you very much. And now we invite you to the screening, to the presentation of the screening of the film Spain in Exile, directed by Guillermo Zuniga, if I pronounce well, and produced by Paul Falkenbeck. After the movie, please stay. I will just give you some practical, logistical information. Thank you.